What's up, guys? It's one thing to win or lose a Super Bowl, but it's another to set an amazing or simply embarrassing record that figures to stand for the rest of mankind. Over the years, some teams and individual players have rewritten the Super Bowl history works, some for the better and some for worse. And they can comfortably live the rest of their lives knowing these records won't be topped. I'm Jason Biondo, and today we present the 10 most unbreakable Super Bowl records. Also, don't forget to subscribe to TPS and put on your notifications, because we post videos, that's right, every single day. Every day we post a new video, so you should subscribe. And a huge shout out to Vince at Ladona for suggesting this video. Number 10, most career Super Bowl rushing yards, Franco Harris. The NFL is a passing league now. It's been pass heavy throughout the 21st century. There are only so many elite MVP caliber running backs in the NFL. And when it comes to the Super Bowl, defenses usually find a way to bottle up a team's dominant rushing game. That's why Pittsburgh Steelers legend Franco Harris is likely to hold the record for most career Super Bowl rushing yards until the end of time. In 4 Super Bowl games, Harris rushed for a total of 354 yards. He's also second all-time in career rushing touchdowns in the Super Bowl, with 4, trailing the all-time leader Emmitt Smith by 1. Harris was part of the 70s Steel Curtain dynasty in Pittsburgh that won 4 Super Bowls. This group certainly wouldn't have won all those rings if it weren't for Harris's dominance on the ground. By the way, Larry Csonka sits second all-time in career Super Bowl rushing yards with 297. Yeah. Nobody's catching Harris. Number 9, fewest completions by a winning quarterback, Bob Griese. If a quarterback plays an entire game, it's completely inexcusable for him to not complete double-digit passes in a game, unless it's snowing like crazy, or if his team's rushing game is just flat-out dominant. Stuff like that. Could you imagine winning a Super Bowl in which your quarterback only completes 6 of 7 pass attempts for 73 yards? No touchdowns? Well, that's what Miami Dolphins quarterback Bob Griese did in Super Bowl 8 against the Minnesota Vikings. Thing is, Griese didn't really have to play great. Miami kept Minnesota quarterback Frank Tarkenton in check, limiting his Vikings offense to just 7 points. Miami finished with 196 rushing yards, led by Larry Csonka's 145. So yeah, Griese was a Super Bowl winning quarterback despite only completing 6 passes. You will not see another signal caller lead his team to victory with 6 passes ever again. Number 8, most fumbles by one team in a Super Bowl, Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills never gave themselves a chance against the Dallas Cowboys in Super Bowl 27. Rather than win their first Super Bowl in franchise history, the Bills helped the Cowboys begin a dynasty with their first of 3 Lombardi trophies in the 90s. Credit to Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, and company, but no team shot itself in the foot during one Super Bowl more than these Bills. Buffalo fumbled a whopping 8 times in this game, and they lost 5 of them. In fact, Dallas scored 2 touchdowns off of fumble recoveries. It would have been 3 if Led didn't celebrate too early by losing the ball before he crossed the goal line. The game wasn't much of a contest as the Cowboys rolled to a 52-17 blowout victory. Hey, that happens when one team fumbles 8 times and loses 5 of them. No chance that another team manages to top this record. Like, none. Number 7, career Super Bowl passer rating, Joe Montana. Obviously, the fewer Super Bowls you play in, the easier it is to sustain such a high passer rating. For example, Jim Plunkett sits second all-time in Super Bowl passer rating with 122.8, having played in 2 of the big games. Russell Wilson is third with 117.4. If he plays in a 3rd or 4th Super Bowl, expect for that number to go down a bit. But Joe Montana, who played in 4 Super Bowls, somehow managed to post an insane and incredible 127.8 Super Bowl rating. Absolutely amazing. The 49ers went 4-0 in Super Bowls that Montana played in. He tossed 11 touchdowns and 0 interceptions in those big games as well. They didn't call him Joe Cool for nothing, folks. Number 6, most interceptions in a Super Bowl game, Rod Martin. Through Super Bowl 52, 3 different players shared the record for most career Super Bowl interceptions: Chuck Howley, Larry Brown, and Rod Martin. Martin, of course, registered all 3 of his Super Bowl picks in just 1 game. That happened in Super Bowl 15 when Martin's Oakland Raiders met the Philadelphia Eagles. Although quarterback Jim Plunkett won the MVP award, Oakland star linebacker was arguably the more dominant player in this one. Martin had 3 interceptions off of Eagles quarterback Ron Jaworski. Philly never stood much of a chance in this one, as the Raiders ran away with a 27-10 victory. Nearly 40 years later, and Martin's record still stands. It's a kind reminder that nobody will top his record of 3 interceptions in one Super Bowl game. Number 5, most consecutive seasons with a Super Bowl win, Ken Norton Jr. Reaching 3 straight Super Bowls is no easy task for any team whatsoever. In order to do what Ken Norton Jr. did, and that is win a Super Bowl in 3 straight years, you simply have to join the right teams at the right time. The former 3-time Pro Bowl linebacker played with the Dallas Cowboys from 1988 to 93. Norton was a vital piece of Jimmy Johnson's defense, and he was part of the Dallas teams that won Super Bowl 27 and 28 over the Buffalo Bills. In the 1994 offseason, Norton signed with the rival San Francisco 49ers, who competed with the Cowboys for NFC supremacy. Led by Steve Young and Jerry Rice, the 49ers defeated the San Diego Chargers in Super Bowl 29. And with that, Norton became the first and only player to date to win a Super Bowl in 3 straight years. And there's no reason to think that somebody will top that record. It could get matched, but it's certainly not going to get broken. Our money is on this record holding up for a long time. Number 4, most career Super Bowl passing yards, Tom Brady. TB12 just keeps on adding to this. Truth be told, there are countless Super Bowl records that Brady holds, but we're fairly confident no quarterback will ever reach the amount of passing yards he has accumulated. That's what happens when you play in the Super Bowl like every year. Through Super Bowl 52, Brady had 2,576 career passing yards in the big game. The next closest is Kurt Warner, who had 1,156. Joe Montana follows them with 1,142. Brady's 505 passing yards in Super Bowl 52 were an NFL record. That broke the record of 466 that he accounted for in Super Bowl 51 against the Atlanta Falcons. In those 2 Super Bowls alone, Brady combined for 971 passing yards. Simply remarkable. So yeah, nobody's touching this record. Unless, some other quarterback manages to reach, say, like 5 Super Bowls and throw for well over 500 yards in each of them, and that's just not happening. Number 3, most touchdowns, Jerry Rice. This obviously doesn't factor in quarterback touchdowns, but rather rushing, receiving, or special teams touchdowns. Jerry Rice, the greatest wide receiver of all time, comfortably holds the record for most Super Bowl touchdowns with 8. Rice wasn't playing yet when Joe Montana led the 49ers to their first 2 Super Bowl championships in the 80s. But no worries, the GOAT of wideouts did some damage in the 4 Super Bowl games he did suit up for. Rice was instrumental in helping the 49ers win Super Bowl 23 over the Cincinnati Bengals, the first ring of his career. He was named MVP after registering 11 catches for a whopping 215 yards and 1 touchdown reception. In Super Bowl 24, Rice torched the Denver Broncos with 7 receptions for 148 yards and 3 touchdowns, leading San Fran to a repeat and its 4th championship. Super Bowl 29 against the San Diego Chargers, 10 catches, 149 yards, 3 touchdowns, ring number 3 for Rice, and championship number 5 for the 49ers. Now Rice was on the Oakland Raiders team that got crushed by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Super Bowl 37, but for good measure, Rice had 5 catches for 77 yards and 1 touchdown. Boom, 8 touchdowns in the Super Bowl. Yeah, nobody's touching that one. Number 2, most consecutive Super Bowl losses, Buffalo Bills. My friend Tom is a huge Bills fan, and I don't know how he does it. I'm a Jets fan, I don't know how he does it. Imagine telling Buffalo Bills fans this before the 1990 season. Your team is about to go on a stretch run where they'll reach 4 straight Super Bowls. The question would immediately become, how many of those Super Bowls will they win? And not, will the Bills even win 1 Super Bowl. Led by the legendary no-huddle offense consisting of Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, and Andre Reed, the Bills dominated defenses in the 90s, and they quickly became the class of the AFC. Powered by their offense and the all-time sacks leader in Bruce Smith, Buffalo went 13-3 in the 1990 season. Of course, they lost Super Bowl 25 to the New York Giants when Scott Norwood went wide right on a game-winning field goal attempt at the end of the game. The Bills went 13-3 again in 1991 and reached Super Bowl 26, but the Washington Redskins hammered them 37-24. The Bills met the Dallas Cowboys in Super Bowl 26 and 27, losing 52-17 and 30-13 respectively. And that is the sad, tragic tale of the Buffalo Bills and the heartbreak they put their fans through. This team should have been a dynasty, but instead they blew it in 4 straight Super Bowl games. There is absolutely no way you'll see a team play in 4 straight Super Bowls and lose them all ever again. This is one shameful yet unbreakable record for the Bills. Number 1, most Super Bowl appearances, Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. Brady and Belichick go together here. There's simply no way that Belichick reaches 9 Super Bowls as head coach of the New England Patriots without Brady, and vice versa. No head coach will ever top Belichick's now 9 appearances. No other player will ever top Tom Brady's total either. The legendary Don Shula has the 2nd most all-time Super Bowl appearances for a head coach, with 6. Nobody is getting close to he or Belichick, and ditto for Brady. It's amazing enough if any other player outside of New England manages to reach 3 Super Bowl games in their career. It's hard to believe it's already been almost 20 years since their first Super Bowl appearance together. The Pats won their first 3 Super Bowl games with Brady and Belichick. Then they dropped the next 2, won number 6 and 7, then lost number 8 to the Philadelphia Eagles. Just when people thought Brady and Belichick may have reached their last Super Bowl together, they defeat the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. Hello, Super Bowl appearance number 9. Absolutely no other future head coach and quarterback duo will make 9 Super Bowls again. I mean, like, we're not even sure if another combination will get to 5. What Brady and Belichick have done together is nothing short of amazing. Together, Brady and Belichick will share the record for most Super Bowl appearances as a player and head coach, respectively. It's the most unbreakable of Super Bowl records, plain and simple. What do you think is the most unbreakable Super Bowl record? Join us in the comment section below. Make sure to follow myself and Total Pro Sports on social media. We post great content all the time. Great tweets, great Instagrams. At least go check out our page. Like, go check it out. Be like, oh, dope Instagram. Oh, I like that tweet. Like, retweet, like. Just go do it. At least go check it out. We really appreciate it. If you like this video, make sure to give it a like. It takes 1 click right down there. Just click it right now because you can. Why not? Just do it. What do you have to lose? If this is your first time around TPS, make sure to subscribe because we post videos every day, every single day. You should subscribe. Of course, thanks so much for watching. I'm Jason Biondo, and I'll see you next time.
My knee.